Hi, I'm Kurt with We Are Memory Keepers, and today I'm going to show you the newest member of the Template Studio family, and it is our bow guide. Our bow guide lets you make these large-scale bows for decor and for gift giving. To get started, I'm going to pull out my instruction cards. The instruction cards have all of the different steps and measurements that I'll need that I'll be going through with you today. The bow I'm going to be making is a medium bow. So you can see here I'm going to need to cut down my paper to 5 inches. I do that by pulling out my B&C guides that come with the Template Studio Starter Kit, and I just snap them together. And I'm going to be cutting this at 5, so I'm going to align the arrows at 5, just pop them into place in the holes on the mat. And then I'm going to pull out my gray cutting blade. There's 2 sides to the blade. There's the blade side, and then there's this side. This side sits inside the track, and it just sits in there and rides along on the inside. So I'm going to place this in there. I'm just going to cut along the 5-inch side of the track. Now I need 2 strips of paper for this, so I'm just going to move my paper up to the top. And again, this needs to be 5 inches. Just making sure it stays nicely in place. And then as I cut, I like to hold the guide in place so it doesn't wiggle on me, so I get a nice straight cut. And there's my second strip. So I can take this piece away. Now I need to cut my paper down to size vertically. So you can see here I have 2 different sizes that I need for this. I need one that's 28 inches and one that's 15. So I'm going to pull up this. I'm going to connect my A and B guides together now. Now poster board is already 28 inches wide, so I don't need to cut down one of them. I'm only going to cut down the second one, which is here at 15. So I'm going to align this at 15 inches here. I'm going to align the paper along the bottom edge, and I'm going to cut at 15 inches. And now we're ready to pull out our large bow guide. This one here, you can look on here, this is the bow guide placement. I'm going to align the arrow of this one at 10 inches. And then this centers it directly on your mat. And now I'm going to pull out my large piece of paper here. I'm going to align it here in the center at 14. And I'm going to trim up on the side, up along the bottom. I'm going to flip my paper over and do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to flip my paper over and do it the same on the other side. So this is giving me the center pieces where the loop of my bow is going to connect together. Flip this over and do the same. Again, just placing this piece into the track and cutting along the bottom edge of this. The last thing I need to do is align my paper in the center. And I'm going to cut up along there, rotate my paper around, and do the same on the other side. Okay, so this is the loop of my bow. Now I'm going to cut the tail of my bow. And I'm going to align this at, let's pull out our guide here. And I'm going to align this at 6.5, making sure that this is centered on the mat. So this is cutting the center of my bow, flipping the paper over and doing the same. Aligning again at 6.5. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my paper over, put it in right here centered in the middle, and this is going to cut the tail of my bow off to give this nice decorative edge. Just making sure it's centered. So now I've got those pieces. The last thing I need to do is I need to cut a strip of paper to wrap around the center. And if I flip back here to step number 15, it's going to tell me that I need my strip of paper to be 4 inches by 3 3/4 of an inch. So I can do that by using my B and C guides again. I'm just going to align this at 4 inches. I'll remove that so it doesn't get in my way. I'm going to trim my paper down to 4 inches. And then now this needs to be 3/4 of an inch, so it's an inch there, so I just move it over to the 1/4 inch mark. You can see I can just keep my template guide in place just so I can get my strip the width that I need. Now is the fun part, is the assembling. So I pull the bottom here. Now when I assemble this, I like to use this red sticky tape. It's really got a nice strong adhesive. I've already got some pre-cut strips to make it go faster. And I'm going to align my bow here, just line it up in the center. Then I'm going to take another strip and do the same thing here. And then I'm going to align one side of my bow, align the other side. And then for the finishing touch, I just need to take my strip of paper that I cut, center it here in the middle, wrap it around, and adhere it here on the back. Let me get a bigger strip. Maybe. All right, and there is my finished bow. Now, if you're going to be doing the extra large and large bow, this one actually requires 3 strips of paper. I have these already cut so I can show you how it works. So this is the tails of it. The reason why you need 3 strips is because it takes 1 strip for one side of the loop and 1 strip for the other side. And you just adhere it together exactly like you did with the other one. And here is what the finished bow looks like. Just like that. So this is one of the many projects you can make using the Template Studio. Be sure to check out our other instructional videos.